Now, if irony had a face, it would look something like this. Meet Greg Tomb. He was, until recently, the president of Zoom. You know, the video conferencing platform. Tomb was its president. They fired him, terminated his employment without cause. And why am I calling him the face of irony? Because ever since the Wuhan virus pandemic started, we've heard about so many stories of people being fired over Zoom calls. This man, Vishal Garg, is the poster boy of Zoom layoffs. He managed to fire 900 employees over an infamous Zoom meeting. All 900 of those employees were invited to a Zoom meeting, and Garg told them, if you are on this call, you are part of the unlucky group being laid off. Adding, your employment here is terminated, effective immediately. Garg is the CEO of unicorn mortgage lender startup Better.com. It's a pity he could not come up with a better, more polite way to deliver this news to the employees. And there are many like Garg who have fired people over Zoom calls. In 2022, British shipping company P&O Ferries probably got inspired by Garg and let go of 800 employees over a video call, 800 of them. The pandemic made virtual layoffs the new normal, unfortunately. And it's hardly a surprise. You would agree with me that it is easier to have difficult conversations over the phone or with a screen in between than in person. But does that make virtual layoffs the right thing to do? Well, that's a debate for another day. The fact today is that Zoom has become a medium of choice for cutting jobs, and it becomes an irony when the platform's president suddenly finds himself on the receiving end of the job cuts. Reports say Tomb was fired abruptly. He was hired only in June 2022. Everything seemed nice and rosy. Tomb attended the World Economic Forum in Davos in January. He expressed confidence in Zoom's growth despite people going back. So what happened between January and now? No one really knows. The sense of cluelessness is pretty similar to what the thousands felt who were fired over Zoom. No space for a one-on-one, in-person interaction, little space for questions. Just a cold turkey termination of employment. These layoffs, virtual and otherwise, continue as I speak. And I don't know how many of you saw the headlines today. Meta is firing thousands of employees this week. The parent company of Instagram, Facebook, and WhatsApp has already let go of many of its workers. I'm talking as many as 11,000 workers. In the first 7 days of this month alone, several well-known companies have let go of their workers. Flipkart, Fitter, and Upgrad in India, Loft, Airbnb, which by the way has let go of 30% of its recruiting staff. Irony much? And then you have Masterclass, CNET, Truckstop.com, ThoughtWorks, iFood, which also laid off workers since a while now. And these companies are just few of the many. How many, you are asking? Have a look at this particular website. It tracks layoffs and it already has 27 entries for the month of March. What date is it again? Just the 7th of March. And as I speak, bodies are piling up in the tech battlefield with more and more people suddenly finding themselves without a job, without a source of income, and without means to support themselves and their families. Why is this happening? Let's just come back to Zoom. The company recently fired 1,300 employees. That's 15% of its workforce. Zoom's CEO shot a company-wide email. In it, WION took responsibility for the mass firing. But what exactly forced the company to take that step? Zoom became a household name at the start of the pandemic because people needed to work remotely, attend classes, attend social events online. Courts needed to hold hearings remotely as well. And Zoom responded to this rise in demand and tripled its employee strength. But then the world opened up again. People went back to the offices. Students went back to in-person learning, and social gatherings went back to normal. It's not like Zoom has been forgotten altogether. Meetings still happen there, so do catch-ups, but it's fair to say it's nothing like before. The demand has fallen. What's the result? Mass layoffs. This seems to be the story across much of the tech sector. It hired en masse in the beginning of the pandemic, and now it is firing en masse. Whatever happened to sustainable hiring? WION now available in your country. Download the app now. Get all the updates on the move.